Hello and welcome back to Supergrads by Top Rankers. My name is Vijayaditya Singh. IIM Ahmedabad batch of 2024, bringing to you the decision making series for XAT 2026. The exam is on 4th of January, less than a month left. And as explained in my previous video, XAT convener himself has said decision making is the highest scoring possibility, especially for these last 30 days. Hence, we must focus a lot. In my previous video, I have already explained how to go about the strategy of the exam, particularly the decision making piece. In this video particularly, we will solve some more previous year questions. You can download the previous year questions from the Top Rankers website, XAT 2025. It's available, solved on our website. For this video, let's start with some of the question paragraphs we've left on before. Let me read this out for you. So, Nen Flanders and Homer Simpson Partners is a law firm known for its unwavering commitment to client satisfaction. One part that we need to optimize for is the client satisfaction piece. Clearly, they treat their clients as family members who have grown along with the family. Further, they are highly regarded in the industry, consulted by country's top organization. As the founder, Homer Simpson is flamboyant, Nen Flanders is serious. Together, they bring a dynamic balance to the team. The organization believes in a strong socialization ritual that bonds new lawyers with existing members. So, socialization ritual bonding these two people. This ensures that newcomers fully understand the nature of their work and integrate seamlessly into company's culture. During the first week, newcomers are overloaded with a barrage of artificial tasks, unexpected client calls, and challenging meeting with founders. What this results in? Newcomers getting overwhelmed and doubting their decision to join the firm, only for the founders to meet them and reveal that this is one big prank and a way to welcome them. Now, this socialization has served them well in the past 2 decades. However, not all newcomers appreciate the utility of this ritual. One of the lawyers, Miss Lisa Simpleton, who joined in 2023, went through the same socialization ritual, found it unwelcoming. She believes that newcomers might also share the same opinion. Lisa thinks that the current generation, especially post-COVID, needs more friendly welcome and the firm must put an end to this ritual. Now let's read question number 58. When a new batch of lawyers joins in 2024, Lisa feels that in her moral responsibility to deprive the newcomers from ensuing stress. However, Lisa, like the others who joined along with her, is on probation for 2 years. So Lisa is on probation for 2 years. During the probation period, her skills and performance are under evaluation. Upon successful completion of this 2-year assessment, she will be eligible for the confirmation. She is yet to confirm she wants to be seen as fitting within the organization culture. Which of the following will be the best to enable Lisa Which of the following options will best enable Lisa to save the newcomers from socialization ritual without being singled out? So, without being singled out and to save the newcomers from the socialization ritual. Let's see the options that we have. Seek a meeting with Ned Flanders suggesting him to put an end to this practice. Now, we already know that socialization has been a part of it's basically worked for them for 2 decades, and it's only this one individual that does not appreciate this practice so much. So I don't not think this would be the right step. Meet one of the newcomers in secret and tell her about this practice. Again, this leads to spread of the information of her own name. So I don't think this could work as well. Then we can organize a generic workshop for newcomers regarding the workplace politics. Again, not something that the founders would typically appreciate. Join a team of lawyers petitioning to the founders to end this practice. Maybe this can work Not quite sure, doesn't sound absolutely right, but doesn't sound wrong either. Be silent this year until her performance review is over and she is confirmed. I don't think this would prevent the newcomers from the socialization ritual, so I don't think this option is valid either. Hence, since option D is the only probability left with us, while it looks like an suboptimal option, as explained by the XAT convener himself, the goal is to find the most possible answer given the restraints, and while this might not look like the best option if we read it without the context of the paragraph, this happens to be the right answer. Great. Going on forward. Now, when a new batch of lawyers joins the organization in 2024, they receive an anonymous email warning them about the socialization ritual just as it is about to start. The newcomer paid heed to the mail. The founders are furious. They call a meeting and announce that while employees are welcome to express their opinions, this cowardly act of sending an anonymous email shall not be tolerated. The water cooler discussions murmur Lisa's name. Lisa is pleased that someone shares her perspective on the socialization ritual. However, she did not write the aforementioned email. As her name continues to be mentioned, she feels overwhelmed and wonders if she needs to do something about it. Which of the following actions by Lisa can best enable her to diffuse the situation? Again, let's look at the options and eliminate the non-obvious ones. Option number A. She should apologize to the founders, taking accountability for creating a climate that resulted in someone sending this anonymous email. Not the best option. She should not apologize to the founders because she actually intends on creating that culture. It's just that the information that is spread is the problem. It's not the belief in itself. Hence, this option can be eliminated. She should simply focus on her work and hope that founders would ignore the rumors. Not quite sure again, because there have been cooler talks and water table conversations around her. So there is a rumor spreading around her, and it would definitely be against her probation confirmation. Hence, she could probably clarify. Hence, this is the wrong option. She should send a public email clarifying that while she has reservations about the practice, she is not the author of the anonymous email. Looks like quite the probable answer. She should meet the founders and share that while she has reservations about the practice, she did not send the anonymous email. Interesting, this could also be the answer. She should publicly apologize for having questioned the tradition of the organization to put all doubts to rest, which again is wrong because her belief is strong that this is wrong. So the only option that we have left is option number C and D. In option number C, you would see the only difference between C and D is that while this is a public email clarification, this is a clarification to the founders. In this context, we must understand that while a public clarification might help, founders are the only people that we want to target to make sure that they do not feed anything else. The confirmation of the probation period is going to be by the founders and not by the public in general. Hence, a public clarification versus a founder's clarification, I would say this is a more targeted approach. It will decrease the number of people involved in taking the conversation forward without creating a ruckus. The social implications of a public email clarification could still be a lot higher. Hence, while these two I could have chosen either ones, I would rather have chosen option number D, which is the right answer. Let's go ahead. Now, question number 60. It is 2025 and a batch of new lawyers has joined the firm. Some lawyers from the 2024 batch have approached the founders to express their appreciation for the intent behind the socialization. Appreciation for the intent behind the socialization ritual. Mark this. They shared that the experience offered them a glimpse of the world they are about to enter. Now, however, they feel that the ritual has become archaic in its execution. The execution is the problem. The intent is still good. And this requires some fresh thinking. As they leave, Ned feels that the time has come to abandon the ritual due to changing times. However, Homer disagrees. He thinks that exposing employees to what profession has to offer in the first week is very critical. Moreover, it helps the organization know whether the newcomer is ready for such a profession. Further, he adds that the socialization ritual has been effectively helping them for decades in grooming the talents. Which of the following actions should the founders best take if they still want to welcome their newcomers, exposing them to the harsh reality of the profession while being empathetic to the demands of the time? Let's go ahead. Let's evaluate the options. They should in their website share details about how tough the workload is going to be. This does solve for the exposure to harsh reality. However, it is not a socialization ritual as mentioned in the initial email. Hence, while exposure is correct, the relationship goes for a toss. Option number B, they should get a mental health professional to design their socialization ritual. Again, relationship is lost. Option number C, they should stick to what they are doing but hire a mental health professional who know who the newcomers can refer to if they feel the need. I think this will not help the relationship as well. Option number D, they should invite suggestions from their young lawyers regarding formulating a new socialization ritual. Hence, the ritual and the relationship is still being maintained without questioning the intent of it. Let's still evaluate option number E. Option E is they should talk to the competitors in the same industry and check what kind of practices they are doing. Extremely out of context, no way of maintaining a relationship. Hence, option number D seems to be the right solution. Let's go to the next comprehension in itself. Question number 61 to 63. Again, let's start. Read the following scenario and answer the 3 questions that follow. That is the typical schedule. There is 1 comprehension. There is 3 questions. Let's start. Mr. Zubin Misri is the owner and the chief editor of the newspaper The Pluralist. Renowned for his high reporting standards and outstanding writing quality, The Pluralist's authentic reporting distinguishes it from the newspapers that sensationalize news. They are responsible employees. It is a news editing team led by Ms. Ramya Kattabomam, a respected veteran in the newspaper reporting industry, well known for her stringent adherence to ethical standards. Ms. Ramya Kattabomam has ethical standards of newspaper reporting. Ms. Aditya Swarup is an award-winning senior journalist brought in an expose into the activities of a mining company operating in an ecologically vulnerable area. It is hard-hitting reporting. He has presented interviews with tens of people delineating how the mining company has used illegal means to start mining in that area. These mining activities may lead to the destruction of the local ecological balance. However, Aditya Swarup is unable to obtain interview. With the management of the mining company. Now, question. Aditya Swarup's investigative report article offers significant revelations about the alleged illegal activities of the mining company, which were hardly covered in the media otherwise. Nevertheless, his sources have requested for complete anonymity. So, the source of the revelations is anonymous. Let's go ahead and answer question number 61. Ramya is trying to decide whether to publish the article. While publishing the article may enhance the reputation of the Pluralist, there are possibilities of the political and economic backlash for reporting on powerful mining company. She has consulted the legal team of newspaper who have warned that the report relying mostly on anonymous sources is likely to be legally vulnerable. Could be legally vulnerable. On the other hand, Aditya Swarup is a senior journalist, well known and well respected for the quality of his investigative reporting. The topic of the report is time sensitive, so time is critical. If the report is not published in the next 2-3 days, the mining company would get an important government project in the same area. Which of the following reasons will best enable Ramya to publish the article? Let's evaluate all these options individually. Ramya should publish the article because her legal team is mostly overcautious about any possibility of the backlash. This is given the fact that the legal team is doing their job right. However, given the anonymity is leading to legal vulnerability, hence this option is not the reason she should go ahead with it. Option number B. Ramya should publish the article given the time sensitive nature of the report. However, this is not the right approach right now because we might understand it to be extremely time sensitive, but the fact that the sources are not completely identified or confirmed puts us in a position where we cannot be confident of going ahead with it right now. Option number C. Ramya should publish the article because any investigation by Aditya Sarup has enhanced the reputation of the pluralist till date. So Aditya Sarup has been a trusted partner with the newspaper The Pluralist, hence she should probably bank on Aditya's experience. Aditya has claimed complete confidence in this, unlike the legal team in itself, hence this could be a probability, but a suboptimal solution, whatever. Let's anyway go ahead. Ramya should publish the article because a similar article was published on another mining company last week in another news daily. Another possibility. Ramya should publish the article because the same news can get published by a competitor known for breaking such news. This is again a possibility, and in the next 2-3 days, given the criticality of the situation, I don't think this is the option to go ahead with. So we are left with two options, option number C and D. This basically believes the question that is actually being tested is who should Ramya trust? Aditya Sarup or a similar article on another mining company last week. The fact that Aditya Sarup has personally claimed confidence in this individual report makes it a better option compared to another mining company, because the same thing cannot definitely be replicated in every other mining company as well. Hence, option number C is the way to go. Let's evaluate of question number 62. So after the article is published the next morning in the Pluralist, it goes viral. However, the mining company pushes back with a public declaration contesting some of the findings of the article. While the potential inaccuracies do not entirely validate the article, they substantially undermine its message if proven true. When Ramya asks Aditya Sarup to bring the further proof to publish a rebuttal, he informs her that his sources for a vital part of the article were two employees recently fired by the mining company, and they now admit that they were not completely honest in their initial interaction with him. Though some points raised in the article might still be valid, it is difficult to separate the inaccuracies given the unreliability of the sources. So the sources are now unreliable. Ramya immediately brings it to the attention of Zubin while admitting that she hastily permitted the publication of the article. Now, what is the most responsible action items should Zubin take? Zubin, keeping in view the recent developments due to the inaccuracies of the article. Let's evaluate the options. Retract the entire article and publish Ramya's apology in the newspaper. That's what typically newspapers typically do. Good option to evaluate. Retract the entire article and publish that Aditya Sarup will no longer be with the newspaper. This cannot be done because Aditya Sarup was falsified not because of his own task but because of the people that he was trusting as sources. Hence, this is too harsh a measure to be the right answer, so can be declared as wrong for now. Publish a follow-up article disclosing the identity of the sources used for the article, attributing the responsibility of errors to them. While first part of the option seems fair, disclosing the identity of the sources used for the article, however, the responsibility of the errors cannot be on them because the newspaper, The Pluralist, has made that offer. Hence, any ownership or responsibility that comes in the information being spread out that is wrong must come from The Pluralist, and this cannot be handed over to the sources. Hence, this option is wrong as well. Publish an article accusing the mining company of bullying witnesses into changing their versions. This again is wrong. This is just another way of blaming the game to somebody else. We already know that the sources themselves have clarified that what they said in the first place was false. Hence, this option is wrong too. Publish a modified version of the article next day is defending the investigative journalism of Aditya Sarup. While we know that the investigation done by Aditya Sarup was wrong, because of his own sources. There is no point defending the investigation by publishing a modified version. It is a clear breach of trust. Any information source that we do not know is partially or you don't even know, incomplete, incorrect, should not even be modified and should simply be scrapped. Hence this option is wrong as well, which makes option number A the most optimal of these given options. Hence option number A is the right answer. Let's go to question number 63. After the article is published in the Pluralist, mining company pushes back with a public declaration contesting some of the findings of the article. Some of the findings. Let's evaluate the options. Okay, there is more to this question. This has hit Aditya Saroop because he is trusted unreliable sources. Nevertheless, he is confident about the illegal activities of the mining company. He wants to redeem himself. He approaches Zubin with a request to go back to the mining company project to find new sources and rewrite an article with a reliable piece of evidence. Though his fresh investigation will require time and money, it might also enhance the reputation of the newspaper. Zubin respects Aditya Saroop and wants his reputation to be restored. However, Zubin is confident that continuing to work on the mining company project will not yield any results. This is something that is given fair and square. Which of the following actions by Zubin will best enable Aditya Saroop to enhance his diminishing reputation? Option number A. Assign Aditya Saroop to work as an anonymous journalist for the next months until he feels confident himself. Working as an anonymous journalist will not make sure that his public reputation is restored. Hence, this option can be ignored. Ask Aditya Saroop to start his own YouTube channel, since more people are aware of him now than before. This again is not a valid option because this is not going to restore the reputation of the newspaper in itself. Reputation of the newspaper is the main KPI to solve for. Option number C. Tell Aditya Saroop that he plans to delegate the mining company project to a fresh team. Interesting. Who will work in consultation with Aditya Saroop? So while Aditya Saroop is in there, but he's still in consultation with a fresh company, with a fresh bunch of people. Could be an option. Fair enough. Ask Aditya Saroop to focus on mentoring new and young journalists instead of working on any investigative report for some time. This again will not make sure that any reputation loss that has happened will be managed. Hence this is the wrong option again. The last option is assign a new investigative project to Aditya Saroop, advising him to focus on the new project without worrying about the past project. Again, a possible option. Now we need to choose between option number C and E. Now the given context is Zubin is confident that continuing to work on the mining company project will not yield any results for Mr. Aditya Saroop. Hence, even if Mr. Aditya Saroop does choose to work on the same case of the mining company, even with new faces, he is confident that this will not yield any results. Hence, option number E is the way to go. Question number 64 to 66. Human Dynamics is a leadership training organization based in Mumbai, established in 2015. The organization is gradually becoming a leader in behavioral training. In the organization, trainers are assigned to training projects based on their expertise. Corporates seek behavioral training services on a regular basis from Human Dynamics for upskilling their executives. Human Dynamics is headed by a CEO to whom the training assignment officer reports. The TO position rotates among the senior trainers for a fixed tenure. The CEO assigns this position to a senior trainer. So one of the senior trainer is also the TEO. Companies desirous of hiring Human Dynamics share their training needs with the organization. The TEO assigns a trainer to the client. Typically, the satisfied client requests for a particular trainer that client is satisfied, giving repeat business to Human Dynamics for the same. However, the TAO takes the final call. Years of training experience plays a big role in client satisfaction. So experience brings client satisfaction, and hence senior trainers conduct more training programs while the newly recruited trainers apprentice with them. However, the senior trainers have autonomy in deciding who they want to accept as an apprentice. Further, during a training program, the senior trainer takes most of the sessions, if not all. Senior trainer takes most of the sessions, if not all, while the apprentice of the senior helps seniors to organize these sessions. As the apprentice gain experience, they start getting their own independent projects, but that typically takes some time. Dheeraj is a senior trainer, takes over as Tao. As soon as he assumes the office, the CEO shares the concern with him. Now, this is the problem statement that we need to focus for. We have a lot of young trainers who we have recently recruited. Since they are not known to the outside world, they do not get enough opportunities. So, we need to optimize for the opportunities that these young new recruits will get. Many of them are impatient to prove their mettle unless they are assigned more programs. We risk losing them rapidly. What will happen if they do not get more opportunities? They'll start churning. Question number 64. Dheeraj knows that his senior colleagues are very good at training and hence they conduct most of the training programs. They keep the client satisfied and consequently bring repeat business. Something that we know already from the context. However, as asked by the CEO, Dheeraj needs to do something to enable the young trainers to get more opportunity and increase their training engagements. Which of the following options should Dheeraj execute to best enable the young trainers to get more training opportunity without affecting their relationships with the client companies? So, the relationship with the client company must not be challenged. However, the young trainer needs to get more opportunities. So, exposure and client satisfaction. These are the two things that we need to optimize for. Dheeraj should explore for those clients who will be comfortable working with the young trainers. Interesting. While this will make sure that the client is satisfied given that the client is comfortable working them, the exposure part is solved for. However, clients may or may not be satisfied again. Hence, option number 64 seems like the wrong answer. Dheeraj should request the repeat clients to switch to the services to the young trainers who bring a lot of energy to their sessions. Again, more exposure, no client satisfaction. Hence, option B is wrong too. Option number C, question number 64. Dheeraj must mandate that the senior trainers must allow the young trainers to take at least 30% of the training sessions. While this makes sure that they get exposure, client satisfaction is maintained as well. Hence, this looks like the right option. Dheeraj should assign some of the repeat projects from the satisfied clients with particular seniors to young trainers. Now, we are not confident enough if the same satisfied client that happened to be working with the experienced faculty will also be able to get the same amount of satisfaction with the young trainers. Hence, this option seems wrong as well. Dheeraj should request the CEO to urge senior colleagues in giving up some of their existing clients in the interest of the others' career, which again is wrong. We also need to make sure that some seniors are there and client satisfaction is remained and they are able to train them further. Great. So option number C is the way forward. Let's go ahead. Dheeraj decided to assign some of the repeat clients at random. At random, Dheeraj has assigned repeat clients to young trainers to address the lack of exposure, if I am not wrong. Exactly, concerns of the CEO. Many young trainers appreciated him for giving them more opportunities as expected. Sudha Iyer, a senior trainer popular for her training programs and deceptive communication methods, was surprised to see that some of the long-standing clients were assigned to young person. She was concerned that the clients would feel shortchanged. Moreover, she was chagrined that she was not even consulted. This led to the reduction in the number of her training hours. Since human dynamics incentivizes trainers who cross a mandated number of training hours every year, Sudha was also concerned about her possible revenue loss. Sudha is concerned about revenue loss. Sudha wanted Dheeraj to stop assigning established clients to young trainers. Which of the following actions would best help Sudha to stop Dheeraj from assigning her programs She needs to stop Dheeraj. What will make sure that Dheeraj stops? She should approach the CEO and request that Dheeraj be removed from his role as the TEO. Clear overreach because of no explanation given, hence this option can be proven to be wrong. She should contact the client companies and ask them to reject Dheeraj's assignment trainers. This again is an overreach of her own responsibility and is not going to increment any benefit to the company. She should confront the CEO and share that his concern should not be addressed at the cost of her revenues. Could be a fair enough option. She should propose training the young trainers in her innovative method so that they become independent in the future. Again, this can be done anyway without making sure that the revenue loss is communicated. Hence, this option seems wrong. Option number E. She should share with Dheeraj that assigning her client companies to novice trainers will lead to loss of those clients. Fair enough. So, we need to choose between option number C and E. The difference between option number C and E is the concern being her own revenue or concern being the loss of client. Now, since we want to stop Dheeraj and we need to convince the CEO of the same, the bigger call to action would be loss of the company's clients instead of her personal revenue. Hence, option number E is the right answer. Let's go over to question number 66. So, Dheeraj assigned a repeat client of Nandini Hegde, another very senior trainer, to Kirti Gowda, a promising young trainer. A few days later, the client company reached out to Nandini off the record and informed that she was very unhappy with Kirti's training. They also shared with Dheeraj, when informed about this, had claimed that the client would appreciate Kirti if Kirti had more exposure with the training program. Okay. Client would appreciate if Kirti had more exposure, and the problem is in training and exposure. What best can Nandini do to regain the client for herself without appearing to be against the company? She wants to regain the client for herself against the organization focus of providing to young trainers more opportunities. Let's evaluate question number 66. Tell the client that to ensure quality, they must demand her exclusively as a trainer for their upcoming training program. This will not solve for Kirti's training or exposure, and this option is clearly wrong. Propose to Dheeraj that in the future assignments with the client, Kirti be a co-trainer with Nandini to help improve her performance. Seems like a fair enough answer until there's anything better in the options given. Engage in a follow-up conversation with the client requesting that they communicate their concerns to the CEO of Dynamics directly. This does not solve for Kirti's exposure. Hence, this option is wrong. Share the client's feedback with Kirti and ask her to opt out of future training assignments with that client. While this will solve for the client's expectation, this still does not give Kirti the exposure that would be required for her to improve. Hence, this option is wrong as well. Arrange a meeting with Dheeraj, informing him that she is always aware of the situation and Dheeraj's actions may lose the client for Human Dynamics. While this can be a great going forward to retain the client, retaining the client is solved for in this option. However, the exposure that Kirti needs is still not solved for. Hence, this option in general is wrong, and hence option number A, I believe. B, option number B is the right answer. Let's go to the last comprehension, if I am not wrong. Question number 67 to 69. True Color, an event management company in the Eastern India, had been a business of inviting Tollywood singers to a city called Tivana and made money out of selling tickets for their concerts. Fair. The stars are paid a fixed fee regardless of the number of tickets sold. fixed fee regardless of the number of tickets sold. Interesting. The company, a specialized team that negotiated the singer's fee with their managers. However, for selling the tickets of such events, they were reliant on external media agency called ZDS. ZDS is the external media agency. ZDS had a long-standing relationship with Truecaller and had been instrumental in achieving a target of 50,000 tickets for each of the flagship events. Mr. Sukanta Rao joined Truecaller as an in-house sales and marketing manager and a position exclusively created for him. The CEO, Mr. Adil Banerjee, had assigned a task of increasing the sale of tickets to 1 lakh from 50,000. In Sukanta's earlier stint, he had seen that similar cities sell more than they accused ZDS of selling phony tickets in the black market. When Adil inquired with the security agency in charge of gatekeeping the events, they told him that they had no mechanism to check the authenticity of the tickets. So authenticity of the tickets seems to be like the biggest problem. Which of the following options will best help Adil to ignore the accusations from the competing media agency and maintain status quo? So maintaining status quo is our ultimate aim. Let's evaluate the options. In Tiwana, the competing media agencies keep defaming each other out of fierce competition. Will this option help Adil ignore the accusations? No, it just will make sure that they keep happening and he does not respond to it. I don't think that's the best way of going forward. This is what is already happening, so can be ignored. ZDS promises a partial threshold of ticket sales as decided by Truecaller. The acquisition from the competing media agencies is not solved even if the threshold of ticket sales is decided by Truecaller. Clearly, option number B does not seem to be the absolutely right answer. Probably not, but yeah, can be ignored for now. Which of the following options will best enable Adil to ignore the acquisitions from the competing media agency and maintain sales? ZDS is the largest media agency in Tiwana. How will this help? The only way this helps is because if there is no bigger player for a media agency apart from ZDS, that is the best option available for him. That's a suboptimal max that they've already reached. So there is no other competitor that they could be going with. Hence, the acquisitions from the competing media agency can be ignored and maintain status quo. Maybe, not completely sure, but seems like a possible answer. Some attendees admitted to paying cash to the gatekeepers to get in. This will definitely not ensure a status quo, and this option is clearly wrong. Tiwana being a small city, a prominent personalities have to be allowed in without tickets. This again, accepting the fact that this will keep carrying on does not make sense. So while if you look at all of these options individually without reading the context and reading all of them, ZDS being the largest media agency in Tiwana does not seem at any point of time the right answer. However, given the other options that we have, this is the suboptimal peak that we can get to, and this hence is the right answer. Let's move on to other questions. Question number 69. The following year, Sukanta discussed with Adil that unless they got into the ticket selling process, they might not be able to prove the ticket numbers. However, this would mean moving away from ZDS, and the transition could cause short-term pain since Truecaller would be entering into uncharted territory. Further, Sukanta added that Truecaller would achieve self-sufficiency. So, Truecaller would achieve self-sufficiency over a couple of years. Adil was concerned about the risk of taking over an activity of the organization that was not competent. I had understood Sukanta's point. In the interest of building long-term competencies, he authorized Sukanta to take it forward. Sukanta did not review ZDS contract. Sukanta did not review ZDS contract in the following year. Instead, I recruited a skeletal team of 3 freshers from a premier business school as his support staff. As the event approached, the team dedicated themselves to executing their plan. However, by the time the ticket sales window closed, they managed to sell only 40,000 tickets. This shift in strategy provoked considerable dissent within the company. Challenging Sukanta's decision. Disturbed by the situation, witnessing the internal turmoil, Adil must now navigate the company's immediate reaction. Which of the following should now be Adil's best course of action? Question number 69. He should make Sukanta and his team go back to ZDS immediately. Nope, that does not solve for the navigating the immediate reaction, because this would make sure that any information that is learned over the period of time is lost. Hence, making Sukanta and his team go back does not solve, at least because it's written immediately. He should wait and watch as the investment Sukanta may need more time to bear result. Could be a true, because time is something that will eventually make sure that things get on track. Maybe he should engage a different media agency which is working with Truecolor's main competitor. Again, too early to be making that call, and this option is wrong as well. He should dismiss Sukanta's team and let the earlier media agency take over. Again, a very short-term project. He should threaten Sukanta that if sales do not improve by the next year, he and his team will be fired. Fair. So option number, this again gives them time, hence this could be an option. Option number E and option number C are the only, and option number B are the only two options. Either waiting and watching the investment in Sukanta may need more time to be a result, or threatening Sukanta that if sales do not improve by the next year, he and his team will be fired. Now the intention to both of them is same, we need to wait and watch. But is threatening Sukanta the right way, and is this the right time? Maybe, maybe not. Hence, if I had to choose personally between either of them, I would not choose option E and go with option number B, which seems to be the right answer. Those were some of the disaster and decision makings that we've done over the course of time. The other questions in the solved example are questions that we've already covered in our previous lectures. In case there's any doubt, there's any suggestion, there's any clarification that you would want to have, please feel free to comment. You can always download the XAT complete and decision making part from the Top Rankers website. All the best for the upcoming exam. See you around.